Acando is a Nordic IT consultancy. In the Nordics, we offer the full range of IT consultancy and management consultancy. In the UK, we're very much focused on project and program management and advisory consultancy on those topics. Engaging and managing contractors, strategies for success. We had a very interesting discussion. We had a lot of industries represented around the table, and it was interesting that the program managers in the session, almost without fail, were less confident of projects run by an external project manager than projects run by one of their internal project managers. Which is very interesting to me, because if we look at project management, methodologies are consistent across internal and external project managers. Projects by their nature, each one is different, so it shouldn't make too much difference who the project manager is. They should have the skills to tackle a new situation. So very interesting that almost without fail the program managers were convinced that projects, they have less confidence in their projects with an external manager on them. Well, when we explored this, we looked at selecting the project manager for the project, and the conclusion around the table then was the complete opposite. Program managers were more confident when they'd selected an external project manager, because they'd not been constrained by the pool of project managers they've got in-house, because they had the ability to select for particular experience and skills that were pertinent to their particular project. We also looked at the motivation of the project manager and whether they would define their success criteria identically to the projects, and we had a very interesting debate on that point. It was felt that an external project manager was very focused on project success because they couldn't have a long-term view. They weren't likely to be in the organisation after the end of the project. Conversely, an internal project manager perhaps had a more sophisticated view of that success, because they understood how the project fed into the portfolio of projects being run by the company and how it would contribute to strategic goals. So there was divided opinion there about whether an internal or an external project manager better grasped the success criteria of the project. And the third point we debated was whether or not, as a program manager, you're better able to manage an internal project management resource or an external. And the conclusion on this point was that in fact it's important to manage them, and regardless of whether internal or external, a failing quite often is to not manage the resource. Our first conclusion was that program managers are less confident of a project when it's run by an external project manager. But as we explored this, the program managers then concluded that there are lots of advantages to an external project manager, and equally in other situations advantages to the internal. So for example, when selecting the project manager, in some instances it's very useful to have an internal resource who knows the organisation, the people involved, the projects that will follow, and how the particular project will play into those, how its results will be realised. In other situations, it's more useful to have somebody external with experience and skills pertinent to the particular project, which perhaps don't exist inside the organisation. We concluded leadership is very important. If you have weak leadership, then both the internal and the external project manager will struggle. And we concluded that a mechanism to manage the project manager is very important. The way Acando does that is something called 80-20. At the end of every month, for every project manager, we invoice only 80% of our fee. The final 20%, when the customer's agreed that the project manager did what they said, the project governance is good, and we've added value. The really valuable thing about that approach is it forces a conversation every 4 weeks about the effectiveness of the project manager on the project, and that makes a key difference.